It's showtime.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to When Toons Combine. I am, of course, your host, Dutchy, aka Doug, aka Baldy Flat Scalp. And joining me, no, this is not Eric. I upgraded for tonight.
Definitely not Eric.
Yeah. Thank God. Uh I upgraded for tonight. Of course, the Dizzle is here from Wrestling Through the Years, the Bro Down, the Stabcast, his OnlyFans page. Uh family show. Family show.
Well, why'd you say that?
Uh,
I just showed the belly.
yeah, I don't know. It's the usual intro I usually have for. It's usually just something stupid I say.
Oh,
But Daniel's here.
good to be here.
Happy to have you here. Eric took the night off. He was very apologetic. He's like, "Sorry, I got to take the night off." And I'm like, "Okay." I mean, I'm kind of sick of him anyway. So,
Fuck him. Or screw it.
yeah. Well, technically, Cartoon Network has gone edgy now, so and these are two Cartoon Network shows.
I'm the Adult Swim version.
Yeah.
I'll be family friendly.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. I mean, they even swore in Shrek, didn't they?
Maybe. I don't remember.
Yeah.
You're doing one of my favorite cartoons, though, so I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to be here, and I'm glad that I'm here.
I'm glad that you're here too. Mainly because I don't want to do a show on my own. And I do enjoy spending time with you. So all right, tonight's episode. So this is episode 9. So we've done 9 of these things. I think we've done like 4 or 5 on StreamYard/YouTube. The first 4 episodes were done. I don't even know if we can find them anymore. They're on Spotify somewhere.
That's a good plug.
So this is episode 9. This is Edd, and Eddy and the Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
So basically, for anybody that's never watched the show before or listened to it, so basically, I'm telling you.
I listened to it.
Oh yeah. You were actually on the first episode, weren't you?
I think so. Yeah.
Uh,
What I remember, yeah.
so for anybody that actually has not listened to this before, or watched or whatever,
God bless you.
thank you. Or God bless him for not watching it. All right. Anyway, so we take 2 crossovers. Next week and the week after is going to be a little different because we take about 4 or 5 crossovers in the next 2, 4 or 5 cartoons in the next 2 episodes. They're going to be 2 different crossovers. So just to clarify, although I'll clarify more at the end, we take 2 crossovers, we turn them or take 2 cartoons, turn them into a crossover or collaboration, however you want to call it.
Yeah.
I've written it out. I'm going to read it. It is in a dark enough color pen to where I can read it. 2 weeks ago was
Has that been a struggle?
2 weeks ago was because I wrote the thing in yellow. Last week was okay because it was in bright orange and I could still technically read it. But 2 weeks ago, trying to do the Smurfs and the Gummy Bears was
Hey, buddy.
yeah. 2 weeks ago at the doing the Smurfs and the Gummy Bears was like torture.
Yeah.
Not because it was a bad crossover, because I actually thought it was pretty good, but it was like holy crap. I I had trouble reading it. I had to be like even doing it at 5 o'clock in the afternoon still didn't help. Or 5:30 or whatever time we did it.
Jeez.
Of course, the unscripted sports show spoiler alert, it's Eric. He said that it was a fun show because Liz was in the chat. Well, I mean, I would hope that like I had something to do with it being a fun show, but I guess I'd be getting my hopes. Shut up. I'd be getting my hopes up.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So, all right. So today's crossover is Edd, and Eddy and the Powerpuff Girls. 2 Cartoon Network staples.
Yes.
One Edd and Eddy, I am pretty sure is thank you, Eric. Edd and Eddy is your favorite cartoon, right, Dan?
Of all time, yeah.
So that's basically the reason why you're here.
Yeah.
So you could smack me upside the head if I do a horrible job with this.
Yeah.
What? Family show. Actually, family shows can include, somebody hitting somebody else upside the head. Just as long as they're not doing it while wearing a thong. Uh, all right. So we'll get this. I usually stall for about 5 or 6 minutes before I read. So, all right. So here's how we're going to start off the crossover. Ed from Edd, and Eddy, obviously, is waiting for his buddies, Double D and Eddie, to come over when he sees the Powerpuff Girls on TV. Ed starts giving the googly eyes when he sees Blossom on the TV. Eddie and Double D show up, and Eddie starts making fun of Ed for having a crush on a Powerpuff Girl. He goes, "Oh, you got yourself a little girlfriend, huh, Ed? Huh? You're such a nerd." Or however he talks. Ed or Double D tells Eddie that, or tells Ed that Professor Utonium was seen in town and assumes that the Powerpuff Girls are with him. Ed gets excited and runs out of the house. Yay, the Powerpuff Girls are in town. Eddie and Ed chase after him, but are stopped by the Gangrene Gang, one of the Powerpuff Girls' main enemy groups. The gang starts picking on Eddie and Ed, or Eddie and Double D, when Ed starts running towards them. The Powerpuff Girls come to the rescue and scare the gang off.
Oh.
So this is where we, see the start of the collaboration.
Very nice.
Yes, Daniel did take your place tonight, Eric. But there's always a place for you here.
Yeah.
Just
might be on my lap.
Well, I can't go get him now. I mean, we're in the middle of a show.
Yeah, next time.
Fair enough. All right. Ed gets starstruck when talking to Blossom. Oh, you're Blossom. You're pretty. Eddie tries to make fun of him, but Double D pulls him away. Blossom tells Ed I think you're cute. And he starts blushing. Professor Utonium shows up to pick up his daughters and invites Ed to come with them. Well, sure, I'll come with you. Bye, Eddie.
Doing a great, Ed.
Yeah, I'm not. I'll never be invited to the Tonight Show's Impressionist Week.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So they go to his uncle's house, and Utonium says they're staying for a week. Unfortunately, it looks like the Gangrene Gang followed them into town. Eddie and Double D, it actually does. So Eddie and Double D are arguing whether or not they should find Ed. Eddie wants to go buy Jawbreakers. Ed,
well, the thing about plutonium.
All right. Double D wants to make sure Ed is okay. Eddie says he's sure Ed is fine, but Double D takes off for Utonium's uncle's house. Back at the house, Professor Utonium's uncle makes everybody lunch. Professor Utonium asks Ed why he likes Blossom so much. So why do you like my daughter so much? And Ed replies, she's pretty.
He loves her.
I mean, I didn't write that he said that, but are they only like 12?
Yeah, I think so. Like 13, 12, 11.
Yeah.
9, somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere in that age range where, it's still kind of cute to be creepy. Not at the age of 38. So Blossom blushes, and Buttercup and Bubbles laugh at Blossom blushing. Say that 3 times fast.
Blossom blushing, Blossom blushing. I can only do it twice.
Yeah. Well, I was holding up the microphone so everybody could hear you.
Blossom, 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 Blossom. Didn't work out.
Not that time. Bubbles asks Ed about his two friends. Ed says Double D is a fun but nervous. Double D is a fun but nervous guy, and all Eddie cares about is jawbreakers. Buttercup says she'd like to, I'd like to meet Eddie and teach him what's important and to be a better friend. Ed says, okay. Eddie goes back to Ed's house to look for money for jawbreakers and gets caught by Buttercup, who accuses Eddie of trying to steal his friend's money. And Eddie tells her to mind your own. I can't do it. Mind your own business.
Wait, who is this?
This was Eddie talking.
Oh, Eddie?
Yeah.
Mind your own business, Double D. Something like that.
Yeah.
He's like kind of whiny and annoying.
Mind
your own business, dude.
All right. So Buttercup then punches him in the face.
Damn.
Eddie gets up and goes to attack her, but she punches him and he falls through the front door. Double D shows up and gets scared of Buttercup. So Bubbles, Blossom, and Ed show up, and Eddie starts yelling at Ed. Bubbles then kicks Eddie in the shin. He's taking a lot of abuse here, isn't he?
Yeah. A hell of a lot of abuse.
Yeah. Blossom calls her sisters off, and Ed tells Eddie he needs to apologize. Eddie says, I got beat up. I'm not apologizing. They need to apologize to me. Buttercup kicks him in the face again. Eddie gets upset, but before he can do anything, the Gangrene Gang shows up again. So they say it's safe to say the Gangrene Gang actually stopped him from getting his backside kicked even more.
Well, there you go. At least it worked out for him.
Yeah. The Gangrene Gang takes Double D hostage and as Bubbles tries to attack Eddie or tries to attack, Eddie gets her with a cheap shot.
Oh.
Ace and Grubber then take Eddie hostage as well. Snake tries to take Ed, but Blossom fights him off. You're not taking my man. I don't think that would ever be said.
Not taking my man.
I don't think that would ever be said, but you never know. The Powerpuff Girls take Ed away from the danger. Ed wants to free his friends, or at least Double D. Arturo goes after Blossom, but Ed throws a rock at him. The Gangrenes escape before Bubbles can free Ed and Eddy.
Oh, so they're captured.
Yes.
Damn.
Well, I feel bad for Double D, but for Eddie, it can happen to a nicer guy. All right.
I'm intrigued to see what happens next.
Well, let me get to it. I like how we have somebody pop in for 30 seconds and then realize they're listening to the wrong show and then leave.
That's not our, well, never mind. That was going to be something dirty.
Yeah. All right. The Powerpuff Girls try to locate the Gangrenes when they encounter Princess Morbucks. Morbucks tries to trap the girls, but Ed pushes her into the mud. Get away from my girlfriends.
Get away from his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Get away.
Ah! All right. The Powerpuffs then go to an alley where the Gangrene Gang have Ed and Eddy tied up, or Double D and Eddy tied up. Buttercup goes to untie Double D when Snake attacks her. Blossom and Bubbles double kick Snake into a trash can. Big Billy tries to attack Blossom, but Egg gets him with a hose. Little Arturo grabs Ed, but Blossom throws him against a gate. Princess Morbuck shows up, but Eddy gets smitten with her, gets freed, and chases after her. Ace tries to trap him, but Buttercup ropes him up. The rest of the gangrene run away.
This is riveting. And I mean that.
Oh, I appreciate that.
I think this is very good so far.
Yeah. Well, we're almost done.
Oh.
These don't like you can fill in like little like holes or whatever, and
Yeah.
but basically this is like the gist of it.
Okay.
Eddie is still chasing after Princess Morbucks when she trips him with a banana peel. She goes to attack him, but Bubbles picks her up and throws her across the street. Eddie apologizes to the Powerpuff Girls and Ed. Blossom gives Ed a kiss.
Aww.
The end.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. So it would probably be like a little like segment on because Ed and Eddy, like each episode is usually like 2 segments, right?
Yeah. Something like that.
So, oh, thanks, Eric. Or unscripted sports show.
We love you, Unscripted Sports Show.
Yes, we do. You got to get better at your drafts, though.
I thought it was very entertaining, Doug. Very entertaining. One of the more entertaining lists of all time. One of the greatest crossovers of all time.
Yeah. By the way, he's not impersonating a certain orange guy running for president. He is imitating the comedian who imitates him.
Yeah.
For anybody that tries to get us canceled because they're not a Trump fan.
I'm not doing it as a fan.
Yeah.
I'm making fun. It's the greatest crossover.
I appreciate that.
No, I really did enjoy it. I thought there was a lot of twists and turns with the gangrene gang.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that the boys. I would have liked to see more of the side characters like Ralph in there and Jimmy, and because the neighborhood is a big part of that. You know.
Yeah.
You didn't get a lot of the side characters in there. So if I was a network exec, I'd say to throw that in there as well. But besides that, but like, where was Plank?
It's funny. Like I just wanted to kind of get something with Edd and Eddy, and you just make sure those guys are in there. I mean, yeah, you could do definitely more with the.
I give it a 9.
Appreciate that. Eric gave it an 8. Like you could do more with the side characters, I think. So like if that were to be suggested.
Yeah.
This was kind of just like one of those, I wanted to make sure the main characters, because to me, it really is. This is about the main characters. Because when I wrote this, always had the idea that Ed was going to fall in love with one of them.
Yeah.
Because that just made sense. And then what also made sense was Eddie getting the crap beat out of him by one of them.
I'm with you. I thought that part worked.
Well,
incredible. It was incredible.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So that's this one.
What's next week?
Next week is going to be one of the big ones. So we got 2 big ones coming up in a row.
2 biggies?
Yeah. So next week is the Jetsons and the Simpsons, but you're going to see you're going to also see thrown in there The Mask of the animated series, so The Mask based off the Jim Carrey movie.
Yeah.
And He-Man Masters of the Universe. And I know one person who will not be listening to that episode because he is not a fan of He-Man.
He's going to love it. He's a He-Man fan. He-Man's one of his favorites. And I'm going to bring it up to him tomorrow, and I'm going to show him this clip, and he's going to love it.
Yeah. And I'm going to invite him to be on the show. Technically, it was your idea, so don't give me the surprise face. But yeah, so that's next week, and that's going to be that one's going to be a little longer because incorporated. And starting with the episode in 2 weeks, I actually start writing out the dialogue more.
Yeah.
So it actually makes these longer.
Yeah.
Even though like a 20-minute podcast really is not a bad idea.
No.
Especially with how much we yap.
It's a nice, quick, refreshing little taste.
Yeah.
It's a nice little bite size.
Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, it's going to be long probably from next week on, but luckily, I mean, you won't have to do so many of these. Like when I have the Cartoon Network ones or whatever, like
there's a couple I'm interested in that I'm down to do. I'll have my people talk to your people.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm surprised. Last week we did Scooby Doo and Codename Kids Next Door. Well, actually, I'm not surprised that you didn't volunteer for that, but
Yeah.
it would. But like this one, I kind of figured you would do. We were actually going to do this one last week, but then Eric became available at the last minute, and I really didn't want to go out of order.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
So we did this. So we did the one we did last week. We did this one this week. And then we're gonna have, like I said, the next 2 weeks are gonna be big ones, and then afterwards we'll go back to doing just the two. I think that means he'll be back on next week's show.
Yeah, I think so. Unless he pops out of nowhere, out of the toaster. That'd be scary, huh?
Oh God.
That'd be scary.
I'd run.
Me too.
But so, and then in 2 weeks we've got even though you and I are probably both going to be tired because we're going to RetroCon that day.
That's true.
We're going to be doing in 2 weeks is like one of the biggest ones I've written because it's 19 pages. So it might go an hour. The Flintstones, the Ninja Turtles, Thundercats, Darkwing Duck, and X-Men the Animated Series.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It will be that's going to be a big one. Next week's going to be big too. But like I said, like I started writing out like more of the dialogue, and I'm trying to like get as much done as possible because I like to try to remain like a few weeks ahead of time, but also working on stuff for our other programs.
Yeah.
Is very difficult.
Yeah, we're busy. We live busy rock star lifestyles, so that'll happen.
Yeah, and we work 50 hours a week.
Yeah, mostly that.
Yeah. All right. So I don't think there's really much more we could say. We've wasted enough of everybody's time.
Hey, it's never a waste being here with you.
Oh no, I'm not talking about wasting your time. I'm talking about wasting the audience's time.
Oh yeah, that's probably true.
You
did Edd and Eddy justice. I'm proud of you.
I appreciate that. All right, so join Daniel tomorrow. Daniel will be on air on well, not on this channel, on his other YouTube channels tomorrow for the Bro Down.
Yeah.
And Stabcast. We'll be back on Friday. We're going to count down, or we'll be back on the Wrestling Through the Years podcast Friday night as we count down the top 50 WCW or greatest WCW wrestlers of all time. I'm in the middle of trying to do some tiebreakers right now.
Yeah.
And then next Saturday, like I said, the Jetsons, the Simpsons, the Massey animated series, and He-Man Masters of the Universe. You know, people are probably, they hear that and are like, what? This is going to be the dumbest thing, you know, that I've ever heard. And it might be true, but it's going to be like, I made it work as best as I possibly could.
I'm sure it'll be fantastic. You're the man.
I appreciate that. But all right, before I ramble on anymore, because we don't need to go another 7 minutes for really any good reason. So, all right. I'm Dutchy. This is the Diz.
This is the Big Dizzle. Let's go play Duck, Duck, Goose.
All right. Very good.